Hi everyone, it's Kyla here from Holistic Services Group. So one of the greatest challenges that we're faced with day to day at the moment is that with this increase of stresses day to day, not only is it obviously impacting us internally and the way that we respond in terms of coming from that fight, flight or freeze defensive part of our brain, that amygdala, it is then impacting everyone around us at the same time too. So some of the questions that we've been asked is, what do you do when you're dealing with difficult personalities, difficult behaviours day to day? And I like to really point out that it's not difficult people per se. What we're dealing with and we're faced with in terms of if somebody comes up to you on the street, they come up to you and confront you about something that is going on within the council when you're out with your family or you're out in public. It's not that they are really being a difficult person. It is that they are also in this stress-based behaviour. They are also coming from a place of attack sometimes, but really what it is defence. So one of the greatest gifts that I've given myself over the years is this realisation of how can I do my best to imagine that I don't need to take this personally. If you think about, will this matter? Will that person matter in your life in an hour, in a year, in 10 years' time? And therefore, how much energy are you willing to give them? How much time are you willing to give them when time and energy is one of our shortages at this moment in time in terms of lifestyle deficits? So I want to invite you to have a read through the tips and the tools and to choose one that resonates with you, that you feel will be useful in those moments of either when you're on social media and somebody kind of verbally attacks you or is saying things that you don't feel comfortable with, and then also if it's in the street and you're out in public. One of the biggest gifts that we have when it comes to social media is that you can literally switch it off and walk away. Now, if you are in a public place, you can do this also. I also like to say to myself that it's not good, it's not bad, I don't have the whole story. Because in that moment in time, we have no idea what is going on for somebody's life. I remember many, many years ago that I got shared a story about this gentleman on a train. And it's kind of like a metaphoric story. But he was on a train and his children were playing up. They were loud, they were fighting. They were in this kind of very stressed state. And he was just sitting there, kind of ignoring them, but looking quite quiet and meek at the same time. So you can imagine everyone around there is like glaring at him, death staring. Why is he not disciplining his children? All of this is going on. And he turned to somebody next to him and he said, I'm so sorry. I'm taking my children to the hospital. Their mother's there and she's currently dying of cancer. So you imagine this is going on all day, every day. Now that's an extreme case, but we literally don't know what's gone on for somebody prior to them engaging in a social media comment, prior to them coming up to us on the street. We don't know how long they've been dealing with a specific matter for, or what's going on in their life. So this is where we get to choose to be the bigger person. Now, if you're tired, if you're burnt out, if you're exhausted, this is going to be harder to do, which is why having these prevention strategies in place in terms of your own energy and your own wellness day to day means that with resilience, I see it kind of come this superpower. It's like everything just flicks away. It's like that car you'll read about that I talk about in there. The car just drives past, that experience just drives past, and with it, everything that goes with it. So when you're feeling well from the inside, it is much easier to not take things so personally. So I would encourage you to start looking at your own wellness, to look at the stress less tips that we went through, knowing your stress signs and symptoms and how things and the types of personalities that trigger you the most. And what can you do to be juicing yourself up so that you are in the best state possible to come from kindness, compassion, and that observer state, which is that in this moment, how would I like to choose to respond? Is it useful? Is it kind? And is it supporting connection rather than criticism day to day? So firstly as well, I want to say I'm really sorry that we even have to do this video. When I was going through all the councils and we were having these discussions about what you're having to deal with day to day, it's not okay. It's not okay that these mean, rude behaviours are going on all the time. And none of this is about excusing bad behaviour. And you have every right to clearly be assertive and set boundaries and say this is not the appropriate time to be talking about this, and give them other means and mechanisms in terms of communication and complaints. And so I want you to know that I'm sorry that this goes on. But as the world gets more and more stressed, as people are really going into these stress behaviours more and more, unfortunately, we're going to see more of this. And so our choice is just day to day to say, who do I want to be? When I walk away from a situation, who do I want to have been? How do I want to have responded so that I can go to bed at night knowing that I did the best that I could? And on the days when we don't, just being in that place of deep acceptance and forgiveness that we are going to have days that are more stressful and more challenging for us. So I wish you well. If you have any questions or need any more tips or tools, or some of this doesn't make sense, please reach out. This is about you feeling great from the inside out and acknowledging that your place within the community and the council really does matter, and that there are humans out there that want to also celebrate, appreciate, and acknowledge the hard work that you do. Speak to you soon. Over and out.